You ready?
All set.
All right, perfect. Well, good afternoon. My name is Ben Jolly. I'm a financial advisor with John Hancock, and I have been assisting 426 Solutions on a plan level with the transition of your 401k plan. So my overall role on an ongoing basis with employers like 426 as well as other companies in the area is to help companies assess their retirement plan from an investment and a fees and expenses standpoint, and to evaluate other options. Additionally, over and above that, what I also do is work with individuals on their own personal planning. So I help people with individual planning, whether it pertains to retirement planning or things like college funding or survivor needs or anything along those lines. I'm a certified financial planner, so that's my background. I've been with Hancock for about 10 years, and the bulk of my time is spent doing things just like this. So my goal is to be a resource for you all as individuals to help you not only with this 401k transition, but also moving forward with the 401k plan, to answer any questions that you have, whether they pertain to individual investment options for you personally, or even retirement planning questions, or even other issues that you might want to address. So what I'm going to be doing, and what I have been doing, is working with Jess and Michelle to put together a schedule and a plan to present to you different educational topics, both within the retirement plan as well as without. And so I'll be looking for your feedback, on topics that we could help you address, and things that you might want to get answered, or concerns that you might have, so that we can prepare educational topics probably on a quarterly basis surrounding things like college funding, survivor needs, asset allocation, various financial planning topics. Today we're going to focus in on the 401k plan now, because what you're going through and what you're at this point pretty educated on is the transition that's taken place from the current ADP plan to a new principal plan. So what we're going to be walking you through is the enrollment packet today, so that everyone can be informed on logistically what will be happening, and what you now have the opportunity to take advantage of. So if you have any questions at any point, feel free to shout them out, or even for that matter, seek me out on an individual basis after the meeting. I'll be sticking around, or you can also always give me a call or shoot me an email if you have any questions that you don't want to ask here. All right? So Brian will be taking it from here.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your time today. I just want to say thanks for your time today. And also, we're going to be talking about a lot of things today. I'm sure you have a lot of questions about the changes going on within your 401k plan. We're also going to be talking about how much you need to save for your retirement, the different investment options. But before I get into any of that information, let me just tell you a little bit about who the principal is. Okay? We've been around for about 130 years. The last 65 years has been solely dedicated towards retirement planning. 95 cents of every dollar that we receive in revenue comes from retirement planning. Okay, it's just not a side business of what we do. This is our main focus. It's our bread and butter. Okay, so we have about 14,000 employees worldwide. Our headquarters is in Des Moines, Iowa, and we're a Fortune 500 company. We also manage about $350 billion in assets under management. Okay. There was a booklet there in front of you, the 3 steps that could change your retirement. We're going to be talking a lot about off and on of this today. But you see this little guy here in the bottom right-hand corner. His name's Eddie. He's kind of like our mascot guy. You may have seen the commercials on TV or whatnot. All right. So before I get into that, with the booklet here, let's talk about some of the changes going on within your 401k plan. Your money in your 401k is moving from ADP over to the Principal Financial Group. Okay. So you're probably wondering, well, how does that happen? What's the function? What's the process? Well, there was a couple of notices that were sent out to you. First looked something like this. This is what's called a blackout notice. You may have received this already. What this is that most times you think with technology nowadays, you can move money with a snap of the fingers. It goes from one day to the next and it's in your account. Unfortunately, with retirement plans, we're talking about hundreds of employees here. It takes a little bit longer to reconcile all the accounts. We want to make sure every penny is accounted for, okay? So it does take about a 3 to 4 week process in order to move money from the old provider, which is ADP, over to the Principal Financial Group. This blackout notice provides you with the dates, okay, of the blackout. The dates of the blackout that you basically want to just remember or write down are September 25th through the week of October 21st, okay? Again, September 25th to the week of October 21st. Now, why is this blackout period important to you, okay? Well, the reason why this is important is because during this blackout period, you're not going to be able to move money from one fund to another. You're not going to be able to make any transactions, withdrawals, change anything on your account. Okay? So you just want to make sure what this means to you is you want to make sure that you're comfortable with where your money is currently invested, because once that money moves over, you're not going to be able to have access to it for that 3 to 4 week period.
But your biweekly contributions still keep happening.
Biweekly contributions still happen, and the contributions are going to be starting on October 1st, coming into the principal. Okay. Any questions on that part? All right. The next question you probably all have as well, my money's coming from ADP, how is it going to be invested once it comes over to the principal financial group? All right. What's going to happen is that there are enrollment forms in the booklet. Okay. There's a couple of ways that this can happen. One is that you can fill out the enrollment form in the booklet. You can pick and choose your own investments. Okay. Then you can hand the enrollment form into Michelle. Once she receives it, once that money comes over, it will be invested based on how you've picked and choose your own investments on that enrollment form. Okay? That's one way. The other way is that if you do nothing at all, okay, if you do not fill out an enrollment form, that's fine. However, the money that's coming over from ADP, it's automatically going to be placed into what's called a target date fund. Okay? And this is probably the notice, something like this that you received, okay? Not sure if you're familiar with target date funds, but what those are is that they're managed to the year in which you reach age 65. It's based on your date of birth. So if you're going to be retiring in 20 years, for instance, you'd have the 2030 portfolio, okay? So the other nice things about these target date funds is that every year you get closer to retiring, it's going to shift to be more conservative for you because you're going to hold on to more of that money that you've earned. All right. So again, yes.
Sorry, another quick question. I was reading that those target funds have been kind of underperforming over some of the other funds, and they have really high fees. How do you rank these funds compared to, kind of just managing it yourself? So
Yeah.
like Money Magazine last week had a big article about how those target funds were just not doing so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every fund family offers target date funds, so it's tough to really generalize. Fidelity will have theirs, Vanguard will have theirs, Principal has theirs, John Hancock has theirs.
From a fee perspective,
They're definitely going to be, well, that's even tough to answer, just because when it comes to underlying fund expenses, you'll notice in your enrollment packet there's also an individual detail on all the funds offered within the plan. On your more aggressively invested funds, like a small cap growth fund or an international fund, they're going to tend to have the highest expenses. Or, like a sector fund, so like a science and tech or natural resources, they'll tend to have the highest expenses because they require the highest level of management and oversight. And then on the lowest end of the spectrum, you have your fixed income funds, your bond funds. They'll have the lowest management expense. Generally, probably in the middle is going to be your target date funds. It's not going to be the highest, not going to be the lowest. It's probably going to be around the middle. Part of the reason for that is because they do have a very high level of management and oversight, because they're literally actively managing your money according to the timeline and the time horizon that you have to retirement. So they're great, and they're a perfect option for a hands-off investor. If you don't feel comfortable or you don't want to deal with managing your money on an active basis, they're a phenomenal option, and they tend to outperform 95% of individual investors, because a lot of individual investors overly tinker with their money, or on the opposite end of the spectrum, they don't pay any attention to their money. And in both scenarios, it tends to result in poorer performance as compared to just taking a hands-off approach and letting the professionals do it for you. It definitely comes with a slightly higher cost, no question about it, but it tends to generate, in most cases, a better result for you. That's why if you look at most 401k plans these days, increasingly so, the assets are invested in those types of funds. Just because most individual investors either don't feel comfortable, or for that matter, they don't even want to deal with it. They would rather concentrate their lives on spending time with their kids or their wives or their hobbies and activities, as opposed to managing their investments. But that said, that's why I'm here. That's my role, is to help you on an individual basis should you want to take a more active role in your investment management. So I can give you some insight into how you should be doing it based on your age, your time horizon, your individual situation.
How are the Morningstar ratings for your particular target funds?
They're generally high. Again, it comes down to individual funds. You have funds ranging from a 2010 fund all the way up to a 2055 fund. So it depends upon the individual fund, but generally speaking, they're 3 to 5 star funds.
Could you provide that data?
Oh yeah, definitely. And Additionally, one also important thing to note is that there is very specific data on all the funds on the principal site. So part of the enrollment process, you'll probably all want to log onto the principal site, and you can do very specific research on the funds on the site, and then also use me as a resource if you prefer to contact me. But there is definitely, probably more than enough information that you would ever want to, read or learn about on the website.
Can you also speak really quickly to how, since 426 is saving money going to principal, how we kind of reinvested some of that into the cost of the funds for the employee?
Yep, good point, Jess. So as part of the transition, we're able to save money in a couple different ways, both on the employer level as well as the employee level. You'll notice that the fund expenses of the new option or the new plan are generally reasonably lower than your previous or current plan. And so as a result of that, 426 was able to, and even on an employer level, we were able to cut costs. So they were able to apply some of those funds that they're saving to even further reduce your employee level expenses. So you'll notice a reduction almost across the board of the underlying fund expenses within your current plan as compared to the new plan. Over and above that, what you'll also notice, and this we'll talk about here in a little bit, but what you also notice is a much more diversified portfolio of funds available to you. You have the target date funds, but then you also have every asset class covered, so that if you want to take a more hands-on approach, you can do it in a very effective way through this plan. Does that answer your questions?
A question for you also then. In the transition, if you don't elect to do anything, it's just going to go into a target fund.
It's going to go into a target date fund.
If you do elect, is the allocation of the money from during the transfer also going to be split then amongst whatever funds by percentage of the money?
Exactly. So if you pick and choose your own investments, whatever you fill out on the enrollment form, when the money comes over, it'll be invested accordingly to how it's on the enrollment form. Now the enrollment forms, the money is actually going to be coming over, I believe October 1st. So you want to make sure that you have the forms in and ready to go probably within a 2-week period from today, or Friday even. And then for those of you that want to pick and choose your own investments, fill out the enrollment form, hand it back into Michelle.
Can you also do the same thing online if they want to choose to enroll online?
Yeah, the same thing can be done online. Okay, you can basically go right onto our website at principal.com, and you'll have instructions as far as how you can access your accounts online and actually enroll in the plan. That's another way to do it. Now, your plan on the website's not up and running quite yet. It'll probably be around middle of September when that's going to be up and running. But once it's up and running, you'll be notified. You can enroll that way, either online or by paper, and hand it into Michelle.
The instructions for accessing the website are also in the enrollment packet.
Yeah. Well, we kind of jump ahead to that actually right now as far as logging into your accounts online. The very back page. I'm sorry. Does everybody have one of these?
Yeah.
The very inside cover of the back page.
Don't worry, if you need the person next to you, you can read it to them. We have a really good user-friendly website, and if you look here are some of the instructions as far as logging on online or actually calling and actually talking to somebody. But if you go to online, it's at principal.com. There's going to be a drop-down box in the upper left-hand corner. You're going to click Personal and Go. All right. From there, you're going to put in your username and password. Your username initially is going to be your social security number. Your password initially is going to be your plan ID number. That's on the 4th bullet point there. You see that number 458729? All right. So that may be a number to circle. After that, once you log in for the first time, it may take you a few minutes. Then it will ask you to basically change your username and password. All right. But this is one way that you can access your accounts. Now, if you're anything like me, you're not very internet savvy. And if you get stuck logging onto your account, you can go right over here and call one of our Participant Service Center representatives at the 1-800 number there. They are available to you from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. And like I mentioned before, our service center is in like Des Moines, Iowa. I don't know if you know anybody from Iowa, but they're overly friendly there. They'll be more than happy to help you out. All right. So this is the way that you can access and basically enroll in the account. This is one way. All right. Now, does anybody else have any questions on the transition of the plan? All right, great. Well, the next thing I'll talk to you about is actually how much you actually need to save for your retirement. Nothing that I'm going to be talking about today is going to be earth-shattering here, but does anybody know how much you need to save for your retirement? Does anybody know that answer?
$1 billion. I'm 999 million.
You have a lot of hobbies. So, yeah, and what is that number? How do you get to that $1 billion number? You have to save 5% of your salary, 10%, maybe 20% of your salary. We have a lot of great tools and resources in the book and online that can help you determine how much you need to save today to get to your retirement plan goal. All right.
Does anybody have any guesses on that percentage?
It's like 85% of what
No, no, no. A big number. Yeah. No, I just mean like, generally speaking, does anybody have an idea of what percentage of your income you're supposed to be saving to save appropriately for retirement?
Well, I mean, I did a spreadsheet one time where I basically just said if I wanted to have the same quality of life, let's say it was 100 grand a year or something like that, and then you use inflation to say if I'm going to retire at this age, then how much money would I need starting at 65 to go to, if I live until 66, that'd be great. So that one, but seriously, if you're going to go like to 85, you can kind of calculate the stuff and come up with a number and work backwards from that. But,
right.
You're making a lot of assumptions, rates of inflation, rate of interest that you're going to get between now and then. So it's really hard to come up with the exact number because there's so many assumptions that you have to make.
There's a lot of variables.
Well, then the older you get, the larger that number becomes.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So most studies are showing to address the issue, most studies are showing that if you start day one, meaning your first job right out of school, you need to be saving approximately 10 to 12% of your gross income. And that's starting from day one. So like you said, if you're starting a little bit later than that, that number grows, dramatically.
I'm like way later. Half of my 9% of my
Dave
time.
stays where he's past 65.
So the principal site does have very helpful tools to help you, figure out those things. And then, again, keep me in mind as a resource to assist you with that as well.
There's actually, you were talking about kind of like a spreadsheet program type thing. We actually have a great little tool right on our website. It's a little advertisement on page 64 in the booklet. It's called our Milestones tool. I call this the GPS of retirement planning. Just like you said, it kind of tells you where you are today, where you want to be when you retire, and how to get there. And there is also a lot of assumptions in there. What percentage of your salary are you going to be living off of today compared to how much you're going to be needing in retirement? It also takes into consideration Social Security, and you can also include outside accounts.